It's 6:30, so let's go ahead and get the meeting called to order. If we could get a roll call, please.
Jeff Huff.
Here.
Craig Connell.
Here.
John DeGran.
Here.
Terry Atwell. Here. Donna Getzman. Here. Bob Paulson. Roger Spears.
Here.
And Bob Paulson. Stand by, I'm promoting him to a panelist. Bob, are you with us? Okay, so Bob was on Zoom. And do you want the hybrid statement?
Yes, if you could do the hybrid statement, that would be great.
Okay. This meeting is now being recorded in the board hearing room with zoning board members attending in person. There's also an option for virtual attendance on Zoom webinar. For Zoom attendees wishing to speak, please use the raise hand function in the Zoom app at the start of the agenda item on which you desire to comment. Comments will be received from in-person attendees followed by Zoom participants. When it's your turn to speak, the moderator will recognize you by name or number listed to join the Zoom webinar, and your microphone will be unmuted. Please state your name and the city and state where you reside for the record, followed by your comments. All public speakers will be limited to 3 minutes unless the chair designates a different time period. If you have trouble with Zoom, please call 913-715-9666. Board members, staff, and presenters, please state your name every time you begin talking, and please speak into the microphone so that people attending via Zoom can hear you and the comments can be transcribed for the record. This is a public meeting. We are presenting live and recording the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are any agenda items, if there's anything that we need to add, delete, revise, or approve on the agenda, does not appear. Disclosure of conflicts of interest.
This is Craig Connell. Yes, for item B under business before the board, I know the applicant for many, many years, so I'm going to abstain from discussion and voting on that item.
Very well.
Mr. Chairman, Roger Spears. I also have known the applicant for probably 40 years, worked with him for my career, and I will abstain from discussion and voting for not having any conflict of interest.
Very well, thank you. And then disclosure of external contacts otherwise. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Approval of the minutes, if we can get a motion in a second.
Motion to approve, Craig Connell.
John DeGran, second.
We can all approve. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approval of the minutes. Board reports, please, from for the county commissioners.
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair, zoning board members, Sean Pendley, county planning staff. For Board of County Commissioners update, at the last meeting with this board on the September 17th meeting, they had one application for a preliminary and final plat for 37805 West 183rd Street. This board did recommend approval of that application, and the Board of County Commissioners approved that on October 16th of this year. That was on the Board of County Commissioners action. For Planning Commission updates, we did have a Planning Commission meeting last night. Mr. Connell was there for that. With the Planning Commission for the agenda last night, we had 3 updates. One, we had a proposal for new regulations for short-term rentals, such as Airbnb, VRBO. The county does not, our current zoning regulations do not address those. So staff had proposed new regulations to be introduced to the zoning regulations that will address those and then include new standards for those. So we had a preliminary discussion with the Planning Commission last night. We did decide to move forward with scheduling a public hearing for those new regulations, and we'll have that hearing on January 27th. We'll be bringing forward draft regulations. So that was the one item that we had discussion. Another update was on the zoning regulations. We're in the process of updating our zoning and subdivision regulations. And we had the draft review of Module 1, which is the first phase of those regulations. We presented those to the Planning Commission last night. This is still an ongoing update. The goal will be to have public hearings and more discussions with Planning Commission in 2026, and the goal, hopefully, for the regulations to be adopted by mid-2026. And finally, we gave an update to the Planning Commission on proposed zoning board consolidation, which we'll give that presentation to this board this evening at the end of the agenda. That concludes the board reports. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to the business before the board. It looks like the applicant is requesting to continue the item to January 1st, 2026 meeting. If we could have a motion for that to be continued and a second.
Roger Spears, I move that we delay the application number W25518PP and W25519FP LE preliminary and final plat until the January 31st meeting.
Donna Getzman, second.
Okay, so moved on that. So we will do, I don't think we have to take a vote on that. So we will go ahead and move that to that January 21st meeting. We'll move on to the next item. It's application number W25-520-ABUPLE accessory building use permit 13621 Walnut View Drive. If we will have the introduction for the zoning committee here, so we can introduce that for us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the zoning board, Sean Pendley, county planning staff. So this application, let me pull this up here. This application is for a requested accessory building use permit for a property located at 13621 Walnut View Drive. Sorry, we're trying to learn the new setup here with our equipment at the new technology. This is a vicinity map showing the location of the property. It's located in the vicinity of 135th Street South along Walnut View Drive. This vicinity map shows the location. The subject property is zoned RN1 residential. Currently on the property, there is an existing single-family residence with an existing accessory structure. Total property area is 2.95 acres. There's an aerial photo showing the existing conditions on the subject property and showing the surrounding development. So the proposal, I think I jumped ahead here. Okay, I guess that is it. The proposal, the applicant is proposing a new accessory building, 2,100 square feet, including a concrete apron and canopy, approximately 500 square feet. The proposed use for this structure will be for personal storage and maintenance of vehicles and equipment and the owner's classic cars. The applicant has also provided information and a narrative with this application along with photos of some of the cars and equipment that would be stored in this structure. The reason why the applicant needs an accessory building use permit is that the proposed structure, in addition to the existing accessory building on site, exceeds the maximum building area allowed for administrative approval. There's two processes for reviewing accessory buildings. If it meets a certain regulations based on the size, or if it meets the size requirements, it can be approved administratively. However, in this case, Based on the size of the property, just under 3 acres, they're limited to a total area for accessory buildings of 2,772 square feet. So with the existing accessory building, that's approximately 1,100 square feet, and the proposed additional accessory building, 1,200 or 2,100 square feet, the total building area would be 3,268 square feet, which does exceed that maximum area by just under 500 square feet. Not a large excess there, but it does exceed that maximum amount allowed by staff. Therefore, the process would be, this can be approved with approval of this ABUP permit with review by the zoning board and approval by the board. So that's the reason for this application, why it comes to you. Staff did review the conditions of the subject property and the surrounding area. We do a land use review, also called the golden criteria, that we review in these types of land use applications. That the description and all the information is included in the staff report, but staff did look at the proposed accessory building with consistency and compatibility with surrounding properties. There are other residential properties in this neighborhood with accessory buildings of comparable size, so it is compatible with the existing area and the neighborhood. This proposed use for an accessory building is very typical for residential districts such as this, and it would not, staff did not determine that this would have any detrimental effects on the nearby properties, especially considering with the building meeting all required setbacks and actually exceeding those setbacks. And there is, the property is showed earlier with the aerial photo, there's extensive vegetation around the site. So these buildings would be well screened from the road and exceed all required setbacks. And so there would be no relative gain to the public for denial of this application. So staff does recommend approval of the ABUP permit with stipulations. And again, the stipulations are typical for what's required for an accessory building use permit, and those stipulations are listed in the staff report. So that concludes staff's presentation. I do have a recommended motion for your consideration, if you so choose, and happy to answer any questions. Also, the applicant and property owner is here in attendance for any questions as well.
All right, is there any questions from the board for staff? Does not appear to be. Okay. As the applicant is here available, would you like to present? If you introduce yourself and your
Yeah, I'm
name and
Chris
address.
I have a collection of cars that I've tinkered on, and I've run out of space.
Yeah.
So, I can't get up and down as easy as I used to. So I need a little more area, and I'd like to put my stuff inside on all of my, and I need a golf simulator too. So I need space for a golf simulator. So that's my plan. I've got a
And I'm sorry, your name?
Chris Gamble.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
My hearing's
Yeah,
bad.
and whatever. So I've started the earthwork already with my neighbor who's a landscaping guy, and got a nice driveway started and improved the drainage and whatnot, so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a new building.
Good. Good deal. Very good. Any questions from the board? Very good. All right. I don't have any additional questions at all. Is there anybody, anything else from you on that side of it? I think it's
Yeah.
pretty clear on that side. Anybody from the public want to say anything? No? We do need to open it up to them. Do you have, okay? If you'd introduce yourself to us, we follow protocol here.
Yes, sir. I'm Chuck Cameron. I'm a neighbor of Chris. We had a similar building put on our property years ago, and so this size structure does, come in line with a lot of the other ones in the neighborhood. So I would like to have it recommended to be passed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. On any more public comments? I think that's it. If there's no more public comments, we will bring the public comments to a close. Any more discussion among the board? Any more questions or comments on that side of it? All right, we will close the public comments. Do we have a recommendation from the board?
Yeah, Terry Atwell. I move to recommend approval of an accessory building use permit to allow a 2,100 square foot accessory structure on a 500 square foot concrete apron located at 13621 Walnut View Drive for the reasons and subject to the stipulations listed in the staff report.
John DeGrand, I'll second.
If we could have a vote, please.
Jeff Huff,
Aye.
Craig Connell,
I'll abstain.
John DeGran,
Aye.
Bob Paulson is absent, Terry Atwell,
Aye.
Roger Spears,
Abstain.
and Donna Getzman.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right. Very good. All right, the Board of County Commissioners meeting date and location.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this application will be considered by the Board of County Commissioners on the meeting of January 22nd, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. in this meeting room. And we'll follow up with the applicant and owner and let them know about that. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. All right, we will move right on to the next application. It's application number W25-524-PP and W25-522-FP-LE, preliminary and final plat, 31515 W West 135th Street. If we could hear from the planning office presentation, please.
Thank you, Karen Miller with the Planning Department. And one moment, and we'll get started on this. Hey, Liz, can you shut this? I had Liz do it.
You can also use the mouse too.
This is,
You can pull up the keyboard and use the mouse.
oh, okay, I can do this. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. This is an application for a preliminary and final plat to be called Johnson Estates. Planning staff recommends approval. This will be a one-lot subdivision of approximately 5.6 acres. It has RN1 zoning, so this proposed lot is well within the zoning district requirements. And the lot fronts onto 135th Street. Here is the location of the plat. It's on between Homestead Lane and Waverly Road. And just to note, the application you just previously considered about the accessory building is located right here, fronting onto 135th Street. So just a little bit, that previous application is a little bit west of this application. Here's an aerial of the proposed lot. The subject property is outlined in yellow. This will also include a relocated driveway entrance. The relocated new driveway entrance is shown in a red dot. Right here is the existing driveway, and you'll notice that it meanders across a field, across the corner of the applicant's property, and to an existing platted 3-acre lot. This 3-acre lot to the south of the subject property was approved by a previous plat in 2019. So as part of this approval, we're relocating the driveway to a location that it just serves things a little bit better, and there'll be a new access easement established by the plat so that this parcel to the south will be able to use this driveway and the new easement onto their property. The reason for the plat is to bring the subject property, the 5.6 acres, into conformance with the zoning regulations, and to allow for construction, once the plat is recorded, of a new single-family home on this vacant piece of property. The history of this 5.6 acre subject property is part of a 2010 division that was not allowed by the regulations. And due to that unpermitted division, the parcel at the moment is not allowed building permits. So plat approval would reinstate building rights for this particular piece of property. There's minimum infrastructure requirements that go along with a plat. The water would be provided by Rural Water District Number 7. Wastewater would be provided by a private septic system, and the road, as we mentioned, would have an entrance. The plot would have an entrance onto 135th Street, which is a Type 2 Carnip arterial road. This is residential zoning, and lots with residential zoning are not allowed to front onto arterial roads. 135th Street is an arterial road. So approval of the plat would also be required to approve a waiver from this requirement and to allow this residentially zoned lot to take access onto 135th Street. So the minimum infrastructure waiver to allow direct access onto 135th Street. So the new entrance relocates an existing approved entrance so that the number of entrances along this piece of arterial road is not increased. We are not creating any new driveways. We're not creating any new capacity requirements or issues on 235th Street. And the proposed new entrance has been checked for site distance, and there is adequate site distance. So staff recommends approval of the waiver, and it'll be relocating an existing approved driveway onto 135th Street to another point with adequate site distance without adding driveways. And it does not reduce the ability of the Carnip Road to carry traffic and maintain safe access to the street. So staff recommends approval of both the preliminary and final plat for the one-lot subdivision, and staff recommends approval of a waiver from the minimum infrastructure requirement to allow the one-lot subdivision to be accessed via a relocated driveway instead of a local road. And here is the recommended motion in case the board would like to use it. And I also would like to note that I've had 2 phone calls related to this property. One phone call was a neighbor in the area who wanted just a summary of what was going on. He didn't voice any sort of issues with it. He said he may or may not attend the public hearing. And then the second phone call I had was from the property owner to the south of this property, this property owner, and he had questions about the road and the access easement, and we talked about that. And it's my understanding he didn't have any particular heartburn over that. And he also asked about the location of his water line. There's a water meter approximately right here, and he was wanting to know about any kind of private easements for that water line. So I talked with the landowner. The landowner is happy to discuss it with the property owner of the 3-acre lot, and that they will discuss this issue and resolve that. Also, that property owner he said he may attend via Zoom and may have questions for the board. So with that, I'll take questions.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, this is Craig Connell. I have a question about, I don't know how this 3 acres in the middle of nowhere there in that property ever got spread out like that with not access to the road.
So that 3-acre parcel was also part of the non-conforming division. There's quite a bit of history behind that, how that happened. The remedy for that parcel was a plat and approval by the Board of County Commissioners. It received eventually approval by the board, and that access easement and also the entrance here was also approved by the board in 2019. So just another note, approval of this 5.6 acre lot would be the last piece to resolve that non-conforming division in 2019. If this is approved, then all related property would conform with the regulations, and so that's just something to think about.
John DeGrand, I have a question. So the water meter is not on the 6 acre property? It's on the larger?
It doesn't appear to be. The Ames map and the information from the water district shows the water meter to be about 40 feet to the east.
Okay, so this property is one property owned by one person, correct?
Which property?
The
6 acre?
The 6 plus the 70 whatever around it.
So at the moment, one owner owns the 6 acre and then the remnant 70-some acre parcel.
Also?
Also.
Same owner, okay,
And then a second owner owns this 3 acre lot.
right. Okay. But there's no actual water line easement through the property?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Roger Spears, just one clarification. You've said a couple of times that you're not adding any driveway. You're moving a driveway. This new one that's shown in red will serve both the 3 acre lot and the nominal 6 acre lot, correct?
Yes.
Be a dual purpose.
And there's a stipulation that prior to recording the plat, that the current driveway entrance shall be removed as part of a driveway entrance permit. So simultaneously, the new entrance will need to be established, and then the current driveway removed.
Thank you.
I should say driveway entrance.
Jeff Huff, wouldn't the larger acreages develop, but will they utilize the other driveway? Or
So-
what will, I mean, is that
it's-
another question for another day?
So, per the regulations, no. There's 70 acres approximately in the other next door property that has RN1 zoning, and if an application comes in, we would want to see a traditional subdivision with a local road, and the residential parcels taking access off of that local road, much like the existing subdivision just a little bit to the east of this on I think it's Lakeview Drive. So there is a similar subdivision in this area.
So that's not we're just concerned with
Correct.
the 6 acres, that access. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Craig Connell, one more question on this water easement thing troubles me a little bit. Shouldn't we, since the 3 acres thing was split out, I don't know how many, you said 28, 19 or whatever, since the county
2019.
approved that, then shouldn't we ensure that they maintain their water easement somehow and have that agreement done before this is agreed to? This plat?
So this plat doesn't have any like jurisdiction or control over the lot to the west of this. You know, this would have a small part of the water line, but not probably all of the water line. And you know, there's room for the current landowner and the person to the south to, you know, to work on the location and an easement if they agree to. And I will leave it to the applicant to address that further.
Mr. Chairman, if I could also, Sean Penley, planning staff, I'll add to what Karen just said. So that request from the adjacent property in the south about a water easement, there's a water line easement. There's no requirement of this plat for any dedication of easements for this plat. Some of the things that could be required, maybe, let's say, for a right-of-way dedication, maybe public utility easements if there was any type of new utilities to be dedicated for this subject property. Any adjacent parcels, if there's any request for easements or whatever it may be, can always be done by separate instrument. That doesn't have to be a part of a plat. So if there's an adjacent property owner that's wanting to get an easement, they could certainly do that. It's probably best, as Karen said, for that owner to work with that adjacent property owner to work out whatever easements are needed. They can do that separately. That doesn't have to be done as part of a plat. So it is, understand there may be questions from adjacent owners about easements, but it's not anything that would be relevant to the subject plat that's being considered this evening.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. All right, at this time with the applicant presentation, if you'd like to do that, if you introduce yourself, name and address, and we would love to hear from you. About 10 minutes or less, if you could.
Good evening, my name's Tim Tucker, Tucker. I'm with Phelps Engineering, address 1270 North Winchester, Olathe, Kansas. I'm here on behalf of the Johnsons as the applicant. We've worked with staff closely on this project, and it's got a lot of complicated history and stuff to it. I think Karen did a very good job in presenting the project. I really don't have an application or a presentation to go with this. We've read through stipulations 1 through 9 or in agreement with them. I could take questions. I'll try to answer. I guess I'm sure you're going to ask me about the water line, which just came up. I wasn't aware of it until I walked in here tonight. But you know, from the water meter back, typically there is no easement. That's a private line at that point. In this case, it's crossing 1, 2, possibly 3. I don't really know where the location is. But speaking with the applicant, they'll continue to work with the property owner of the 3-acre parcel to get a private utility easement for maintenance and access for their water line to continue there. I don't know if there was any other questions.
Is there any questions from the board for the applicant? Does not look like there is, so no, I think you got off pretty easy. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. I thought you did a good job.
Yeah, that was a great job. All right, so open it up to any public comments. Is there anybody from the public that would like to make public comment? Does not look like there is, so we will close the public comments. Oh, on the Zoom, any Zoom public comments?
We do have someone on Zoom, but they've not raised their hand to speak.
Okay.
So no comments.
No, okay, perfect, very good. Thanks for the reminder. All right, very good. Then we will close the public comments. Discussion among the board members, or anything else we need to discuss? All right, at this point, if there's a recommended motion and a second, I would take that at this time.
Mr. Roger Spears, I move that the board approve application numbers W25-524-PP and W25-522-FP for a preliminary and final plat for one residential lot to be known as Johnson Estates, and to approve the requested minimum infrastructure waiver for the reasons and subject to the stipulations recommended by staff and listed in the staff report.
Donna Getzman, second.
If we could take a vote.
Jeff Huff,
Aye.
Craig Connell,
Aye.
John DeGran,
Aye.
Roger Spears,
Aye.
and Donna Getzman.
Aye.
Motion passed.
All right, very
Hey,
good.
that's okay, I don't, forgot Terry.
Sorry, Terry Atwell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, motion
All
passed.
right, it's okay.
I'm used to it. No.
She's hard to overlook. All right, so announce the Board of County Commissioners meeting date and location, please.
Yes, Karen Miller. This will appear before the Board of County Commissioners, January 22nd at 9:30 a.m. in this room, the Board Hearing Room, the County Administration Building, 111 South Cherry Street, Olathe, Kansas. Thank you.
All right, very good. Well, let's see, I lost my, I've got to turn the page over. We've gotten so far. All right, is there any other business before the board at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Sean Penley, planning staff. There is one last presentation I'd like to give this evening. This is for the proposed zoning board consolidation. We're getting that presentation loaded up and ready. It should just be about 5 minutes or so for this, but we'll go ahead and get started in just a minute. So just some background on this subject. This was something that was presented to the Board of County Commissioners at a committee of the whole meeting on November 20th. The board had received information about this. Staff has been discussing this, from time to time. We do look at the zoning boards and consolidation because of changes in land area for the county and the township areas. As cities are annexing, the unincorporated area changes. And so we're always looking at consolidations when necessary. The most recent consolidation was in 2023. If you recall, this board was formed by a combination or a consolidation of the Northwest Consolidated Zoning Board and Southwest Consolidated Zoning Board. So just a little bit of background of the history of the zoning board consolidation. The zoning boards were created in 1984 in Johnson County, and there have been 8 total consolidations from 1984 to 2023. So they originally started out as individual township zoning boards, if some of you may recall. So each township, at one time, McCamish had its own zoning board, Gardner, Monticello, et cetera. They were consolidated over the years when it became necessary just by way of area and land area and changes, and they became consolidated zoning boards. So the most recent one was in 2023, as I mentioned, when the Northwest and Southwest zoning boards were consolidated to form the West zoning board, and the Southeast zoning board simply changed name to the East zoning board, and that was done in 2023. So there is some statutory requirements for zoning boards and composition of those boards, and also for planning commission. Those statutory requirements, basically for planning commission, just to give background, there's shall be at least 9, but not more than 12 members, and 9 of which should be from the unincorporated area, and 1 member from each zoning board. and then there should be 3 members from the incorporated zoning board. Our planning commission currently has 11 members, but the full commission is 12. So there's 1 vacancy currently, but there's no proposed changes to the planning commission composition. For consolidated zoning boards, the statutory requirements are there shall be at least 5 members, but not more than 9. And those are under KSA 19-2957C. They also, for zoning boards generally, all members shall be residents of the unincorporated area. So unlike planning commission, they have some that are incorporated because they try to, I think, look for, as cities are growing, they want representation from cities. For zoning boards, you're the quasi-judicial board that hears land use applications. So you're considering only applications in the unincorporated area. You, as members, are only unincorporated area residents. So just a background on that. The maps, this shows the current zoning board areas. So the West zoning board area is this light blue. It's about twice as large as the area for the compared to the East zoning board. It's approximately 108 acres, or excuse me, 108 square miles and over 69,000 acres. By comparison, the East zoning board area is approximately 58 square miles, and I believe it's approximately 37,000 acres. So this just does show that area. And the boundary is basically divided by Clare Road. So everything west of Clare Road is West zoning board, everything east is East zoning board area. So what we're looking at is changes in the unincorporated area. I think that's the biggest factor that we'll be talking about for consolidation. So this is just a chart showing the changes in total land area from 2020 to 2025. The total land area in 2020 for the unincorporated area was just over 121,000 acres. In 2023, that went down to about 108,000 acres, and that was as a result primarily for the DeSoto annexation of the former Sunflower Army ammunition plant. If you recall, that was a considerable annexation. Basically, DeSoto doubled in size when they annexed that 9,000 acres for the Sunflower property. And then most recently, in the last 2 years, there's been continued, again, annexations. Now the total land area in the unincorporated area is just over 106,000 acres. So, and by comparison also, this is about exactly 1/3 of the total land area of the county. There's approximately 305,000 acres in Johnson County. So about 2/3 now is incorporated area, has been annexed into the cities, and about 1/3 of the land area is still unincorporated. But that shows the net change has been almost 15,000 acres in just 5 years. So there's considerable annexation. Every year there's roughly about 4,000 to 5,000 acres that are annexed into cities as a general rule. Number of parcels has actually increased from 2020 to 2025. There's been an increase of about, I believe it's just under about 500, or maybe total of maybe 200 acres. And that was, or 163, I guess it is exactly. So there's a number of parcels that, as properties are subdivided or there's tract splits, so even though some land area is being annexed in cities, the unincorporated area, there's still subdivision. You know, like we've seen tonight, there was a plat approved. We'll have, there's other plats approved, you know, varying in numbers, but the parcel numbers are increasing still, and population is relatively consistent for the unincorporated area. There's only been a net change of approximately 8 people in the unincorporated area from 2020 to 2025. So not a large increase in population. Obviously, the density is very low in the unincorporated area, but as there's new plats and new subdivisions, there are new dwellings being built, and population does increase somewhat. We are also looking at numbers of applications that are being brought to the zoning boards, just as a comparison. This table here shows the number of applications from 2023 to 2025. There were, since the boards were consolidated in August of 2023, we only had about a half a year to work with on applications, but as you can see, there were 6 applications to the East Zoning Board, 8 applications to the West Zoning Board. In 2024, that number went up and is generally average. You know, 17 applications went to the East Zoning Board, 24 came before this West Zoning Board. And then so far this year, as of at least October, There were 15 applications brought to the East Zoning Board, and there's been 17 applications brought to the West Zoning Board. So it's staying generally consistent and even between both boards. They're really relatively even. Zoning Board meeting summaries, the numbers of meetings, we track that as well. Numbers of meetings are scheduled and however many meetings are canceled. For the East Zoning Board, this just shows that there were 3 cancellations in 2023, there were 4 cancellations in 2024, and there were 2 cancellations this year. And these cancellations can be one of 2 reasons. 1, maybe there weren't any applications scheduled for that meeting, or 2, maybe there was a lack of quorum and we needed to continue or cancel the meeting. That has happened a couple of times. West Zoning Board, there have been fewer cancellations. As you can see here, in 2023, there were no cancellations. Last year, there were 3, and so far this year, I believe there was at least 1 cancellation up until October. That was at least. There may be more now. But at any rate, this just shows the number of meetings. Sometimes we don't have a need for a meeting if we don't have applications. That does still happen. So just as a summary, the factors that we're considering when we're talking about consolidation, we're looking at total land area. So the jurisdiction in the land area for the county continues to shrink for the unincorporated area. So as cities are annexing land, we're losing land area in the unincorporated area. The numbers of applications to both the East and West Zoning Boards are generally equal following consolidation. They're relatively consistent. But we do anticipate a reduction of the number of applications that are going to be coming before the zoning boards as we are updating our regulations. You may recall there was previously the application process for accessory buildings used to be a conditional use permit. That was changed a couple of years ago. We amended that to require these accessory building use permits like you saw this evening. So if it's an oversized accessory building, now there's a different permit process. There's also an administrative process, like I mentioned. If that applicant had met the size requirements, let's say it was only a 1,500 square foot building, they could have done that administratively, so you never would have seen that. So for those reasons, we're amending the regulations to allow some things to be approved administratively. That allows for a more efficient process, both for applicants and staff and the zoning boards. So we do anticipate a further reduction of those applications because we're also working on other updates to our zoning regulations that might limit the number of applications coming before the board. And it is possible, too, that there could be a decline or a shrinking pool of potential board members that can serve on the zoning boards as we continue to lose land area in the unincorporated area. That's a possible consideration. So we did want to consider then, what would the potential changes be then if we did create a new zoning board or we're consolidating both the East and West zoning boards? Rather than, our current boards are 7. There's 7 board members in the East zoning board and 7 board members in the West zoning board. We would propose a total of 9 members to serve on the new consolidated zoning board. That's allowed by the state statutes to go up to 9. And the nomination process could be possibly 3 board members nominated by the 3rd district commissioner, 3 members by the 6th district commissioner, and 3 members by the chairman of the board. That follows generally what we're trying to do as far as having nominations from all the respective districts and the commissioners. So this is just a proposal. This is what we presented to the board at the committee of the whole meeting. That's a possible nomination process and number of members on the new board if we move forward with consolidation. The changes, the planning commission will virtually stay the same. We're not proposing any changes to the composition or number of board members or planning commissioners. So it generally follows the same composition. We'll retain 12 members. There will still be nominations from all the different commissioners, depending on whether it's an incorporated resident or the unincorporated residents. And there, as you see here, this is consistent with the current bylaws. 3 of the planning commissioners are nominated by the 6th district commissioner, 3 are nominated by the 3rd district, and 2 are nominated by the chairman. And the other 4 are nominated by the other district commissioners. And we don't propose any change to that nomination process. So the next steps, as I mentioned, we had a presentation to the Board of County Commissioners in November. They suggested that we provide updates to both the zoning boards and also the planning commission to present this and let you know what is being considered and to get any comments and feedback on this proposal. We expect to bring this back before the board in January for an update to provide those comments that we received. We did get some comments from the East Zoning Board at the meeting on, I believe it was December 3rd. This month, we made a presentation to the East Zoning Board. We did get some comments and questions from them. We're going to forward those on. And any comments that we received tonight, we'll be happy to share those with the board and bring it forward to the board for a possible consideration of a resolution for consolidation. If the board does move forward with that consolidation process at that time, we'll prepare the resolution, have it ready for approval. They could then conceivably start nominating new members and requesting applications for new board members, and it would go into effect whenever it could be scheduled for the board for approval and appointment of the new board. Hard to say exactly when that will be, but we expect it will be early 2026. We do have a meeting scheduled in January for both the East and West zoning boards. We do have applications that are already scheduled, so we do know for a fact we're going to have a meeting in January. Beyond that, we're not sure, so we don't know when exactly that would happen, but we expect it will probably be that the board would approve that at some point early 2026. But that concludes the update in the zoning board consolidation. I'm happy to answer any questions, and like I said, we'll be happy to share and forward any comments we received tonight to the Board of County Commissioners.
Terry Atwell, can you provide us tonight with some of the comments from the East Zoning Board?
Sure. Sean Penley, planning staff. Some of the comments that we received from the East Zoning Board, they wanted to make sure that whatever the composition be, or the nomination process would be, that it was representative of and equally representative of both areas. So what they wanted, so let me go back to I don't know if I jumped out of this presentation here, try to go back to the slide that showed the nomination process. So this just showed potentially how the nomination could be 3 members from the 3rd district, 3 members from 6th district, and then 3 members from the chairman. What they wanted to make sure was that there was equal representation. So if there's no more townships and no more areas, you're going to have just 9 members all from the unincorporated area. They wanted to make sure that 6 of them weren't from, say, just the west area, and then only the 3 from the east. They want to make sure that there was how can we be sure that the chairman is going to appoint 3 members that from their area, maybe they get 1 membership. So what they proposed was, they thought it would be more fair if we're going to do 9, to have 4 members be nominated from the 3rd district, 4 members nominated from the 6th district, and the chairman get 1 nomination. That was one of their comments, to make that equally distributed as far as membership. You know, they wanted to make sure, so the thought process was, I think, generally there should still be representation from the different township areas, so there's kind of equal, both the east and west area. They also just wanted to make sure that, again, that there was a thought process going forward with this consolidation, that there was that continued representation of residents from the unincorporated area. So they want to make sure it's still only residents of the unincorporated area would be able to be serving on the new board, and that is the case. That's a statute, there's statutory provisions for that. So these would only be, the only members would be residents of the unincorporated area. So I think those were the main comments we received. I don't recall any others, and just.
Okay, well, my problem right off the get-go is that our district is way larger. And I feel like we can't have a 4 and 4. If you're going to divide it, you need to take in consideration the size of the districts. I mean, I didn't write down, I thought I did, the population and the size. We're twice the size of theirs. And what happens on the west side of Johnson County is totally different than what happens on the east side of the county. So I am going to voice my opinion right now that I do not feel it should be a 4 and 4 because our district is twice as large. So I do also have an issue with maybe the chairman making, if they give him 3, I don't think he should have 3. I think it should be left to the county commissioners in those districts, so that we get a good mix of people. So,
Okay, yeah, certainly we'll be happy to take those comments and pass those along. One of the things I didn't do, I apologize, as part of this presentation is provide the specific population breakdown. You're correct on the total land area. As I mentioned, the west area is considerably larger than the east area. But I will note, if you look at the population by townships, there's almost double the population in the east zoning board area for the unincorporated area as the west. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, for in terms of nominations in the zoning board. It doesn't need to be a representation on population like it is with district commissioners. For Board of County Commissioners, they do set up their districts, of course, by population. For zoning in our zoning board areas, it's dependent on whatever makes sense, I think, from a land use or just area-wide. But certainly, we can pass along those comments about representation and numbers of appointments based on land area. That was one thing that I think we were considering initially is, well, how do you break up the area if there's more land area? You know, when we went through that consolidation in 2023, I remember that was a big question. Should we have one board or one zoning board area that's considerably larger than the east? And I think the thought process behind that was because at the time, the Northwest, they had so few applications being brought to them, it made sense to bring them in with the Southwest zoning board because they had a lot more applications and it kind of balanced out. So that, the big determining factor in 2023 when we did the consolidation was when we looked at total numbers of applications that were generally consistent when you combine Northwest and Southwest and then the East. But certainly we understand, we'll note that, the comments about the membership and zoning board areas with the West being larger, we can note that and bring that forward to the board.
Sean, Roger Spears, just to clarify, I think I understand this right, but on this slide that you're showing here, when it says third district nominates 3 members, that's the county commissioner for the third district, the county commissioner for the 6th district, and the chair of the county commission.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and it would be that respective district commissioner at that time. So of course, you know, membership may change in the board, but this will always be whoever that person is. The third district commissioner would have three, however it gets approved ultimately. Yes, those nominees come from the standing district commissioner. That's correct.
Donna Getzman. Sean, I kind of piggybacking on Terry here, was thinking the same thing as you were presenting, that with the West District being larger acreage-wise, I guess we didn't go over the population, or you just did, but I sure would like to see that represented fairly for size, just because, you know, we all here sitting on this board, we know our area better than we know the east area and vice versa, and would like to see that taken into consideration. And also, I agree, I don't like the idea of the chair nominating 3 members. I think that should come from our district county commissioners. They know their people better than the chair does, and that's my thoughts too on that. Thanks.
Yeah, Craig Connell, Sean, one comment, just again, piggybacking on what they've just said is, I think the chair should have 1, maybe 0 people nominated to this committee, because who knows if they even live in the rural part of the county. I mean, the current one doesn't, but the district, 6th district people know their district, hopefully, and know who would be good candidates to be on the board. So I would think the chair really should have 0, frankly. And I don't know that you need 9. I think, to me, 7 is a good number like we have here, frankly. For what that just more debate about the same things over and over by 9 people doesn't help anything. 7 can do the same thing.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think
Totally agree
7's,
with
you
the
know,
number.
a decent number as well. 9 can get a little unwieldy, I would think. And 2, I think, you know, with the unincorporated, it's, I know that some of the cities are looking at, you know, annexing some, and so some of this could change between now and the time some of that changes. I know there's some discussion even in Olathe, they're looking at pockets that are not, that are considered annex or unincorporated now that aren't, that, so some people that, I know me, sitting at this table that are considered unincorporated may not be unincorporated by the time that all of this happens. So I don't know. We're talking about things that are happening in the future that may not be relevant.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you for your comments. We understand that it is definitely a changing situation every year. There's, like I mentioned, the annexations, I think it ranged, we were looking at averages, about 4,000, roughly 4,000 acres a year that are annexed into cities, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. And the county is very large, but that's pretty rapid growth, and does that unincorporated area, the jurisdiction is shrinking. But yeah, certainly we'll keep up to date on the total land area, and when we bring forward these comments to the board, we'll have an updated presentation. We'll go over all that, and certainly provide an update if we have it ready for that next zoning board meeting, just depending on when we meet. But certainly we'll update the board.
And I would like to emphasize again, like the 3, 3, and 1. Yeah, I would think 7 would be. It's hard to get 7 to, and it's a commitment. Quite a commitment, and so a 9 is a lot. So I would think 3, 3, and 1 would be something that I would be behind for sure.
Yeah, Terry Atwell, same thing. Because I heard in your presentation, Sean, that one of the reasons this is being done because it's really hard to find volunteers. So when you're trying to find 9 people that want to come in here every single month, I think 7 is a good mix. And I mean, I think we've probably always had a quorum, even if one of us had to jump on Zoom to get in. I think if you go to 9, we're going to be bad. The commissioners are going to be in the same boat. They can't find 4 and 5. It's too much. I think they need to leave it at 7 and then do 4 and 3 for appointments. And going back to this landmass, I'm not so concerned. The other district might have more people, which means their property is probably already platted and being occupied. We have more land mass, we have more open land, which means we're going to be getting more applications for divisions and things that are going in. And that's why I definitely want us to have more of a voice because of how we rule on the west side. The east side does not rule in the 20 years that I have been doing this very similar to what we do, so.
Sean, this is John DeGrand. I'm just going to kind of echo what all these people have been saying up here. I think it's pretty imperative that you would look at it from a land mass standpoint to parcel those out. I don't know that it would be quote unquote fair to do a half and half. That's my opinion.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Sean, I'm Roger Spears. I'm going to throw in one more thing. In my opinion, I believe you're losing value by this consolidation. I see value in a dedicated west zoning board and a dedicated east zoning board. I think it's more efficient. I, for one, as a 6th District West resident, I don't know things that are going on in the unincorporated areas of the east. And I think that you're going to have a situation of learning curve at every meeting. I think you ought to rethink the whole concept and perhaps just consider that it's not bad the way it is.
Okay, Yeah, certainly good comments. We appreciate this. This is exactly what we wanted to get, the input and feedback from the commission, the zoning board members to share with the commissioners. And we will absolutely take these notes. We also, the minutes, we're taking the minutes from the meeting as always. We pass those on to the Board of County Commissioners. So they'll get the full transcript of the minutes and all their comments. So we do appreciate that.
Sean,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Donna Getzman, I had just to hop on another note, one other concern before we close here tonight. I happened to be on Facebook and follow the Johnson County government website and saw back like on November 25th that you had posted on there, the zoning draft was available for review. And we, other than at 5:16 tonight, when I got an email from Melissa, was the first time we as a board, I mean, unless you guys got emails I didn't know about, but have been notified that that was out there for review. And I guess just a little frustrated that, we're sitting on this board, zoning board, and that we didn't get notified sooner, like, when that got posted on the website, that, hey, just like the email was tonight, hey, that's out there, please go look at it and post your comments. And also as a resident, my husband and I attended the open house in October. We signed in, put our email, put our cell phone numbers and stuff. And it would be nice for those people that made the choice to attend those meetings, just if you have their email, to send it out, say, hey, here's the link, go look at it. Just, people don't always, I mean, I know it's out on the web or on the website and on Facebook, but I'll be honest, I don't regularly check that, I mean, that's just not something we check. So would appreciate being kept up to date a little sooner than we have been on the progress.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good comments. Sean Penn, I want to address a couple of items you brought up. Great comments and questions. Two things. One, so there's two different things that went out. One was when we're still working, and just by full transparency, we're still working on the draft. It's not totally complete, but what we got it to a point, we wanted to get it to a point where it's, say, 90% complete for draft that was ready for public review. We posted this online on our project website. I want to say it was early November, maybe, just as a draft, rough draft. Here's first version. We had public open house meetings right before that in October. We had general concepts that we presented. So it's still a work in progress. It's not ready. It's not complete. We haven't even had a public hearing yet on this. But we did want to get the information out to everyone. The version that went on the public website first was November. What we sent out an update today was we now have a different website where people can actually comment and actually post comments on the draft regulations. That just went live just as of, I think, last week. We wanted to get that out as an email to everyone, letting them know that they could actually post comments on the online version. Before it was just there for view. You could read only, you could read it. We just wanted to send out another update to all of our boards. In addition to all of our stakeholders, we have an advisory committee that is working on helping us with the advisory on this regulations. Send it out to them. We included all the stakeholders. We had meetings with different stakeholders from development representatives, architects, engineers, farming families, landowners. We included them. And then we did include anyone who signed up at our public open house meetings. We got any emails or contact information. We did include them on this notice too. So we understand that frustration of not, having a chance to get it until just now. But it's a work in progress. We're working on it. But it is available for public comment, so anybody could go online. You'd have to register if you want to make comments, if you want to edit it and make comments and redline it. You do have to register in this website. It's called Conveo. The instructions on that link. Anybody can do that, and you can make comments. But it is going to be an ongoing thing. Next year, this will go well into next year. Additional updates will be posted. We'll get a little bit better and quicker about it when we get the next round, let's say for module 2. When that next round comes in, we'll probably get it posted quicker and we'll get it those blasts out to people quicker. But yeah, it's certainly something we understand the frustration of trying to get that and information out to everyone, but we are going to do a better job of that as we go. This was just that first round, that first module, but certainly we'll make note of that and make sure we get the word out to everyone.
Anything else? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Terry Atwell, move to adjourn.
Craig Connell, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.